It was a moment that shocked everyone. Charlie Kirk, a political activist, podcaster, and a husband and father of 2 small children, shot and killed on the campus of Utah Valley University in front of a crowd of 3,000 people and millions of others online. Charlie has been traveling the country for years, speaking to students and sharing his platform with people who disagree with him, engaging in public debate in the public square. And in the midst of exchanging ideas with a student, he was murdered. The alleged killer, a student from another school hundreds of miles away. And now we're learning new details about his life, his beliefs, and the evidence being gathered in the case against him. Tonight, we have all the latest as we continue our coverage of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I'm Vinnie. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments as we continue our coverage of the assassination of Charlie Kirk, a story that has touched people around the world at this point. And as we sit here tonight, the investigation continues. And some people wonder, well, why is the investigation continuing? Didn't we arrest a suspect in all of this? Well, there's really 2 reasons and 2 different roads that the investigation is going down. The first is of the suspect himself, to continue to gather all the evidence that you need to figure everything out. You have enough for an arrest. You need enough for a conviction beyond any and all reasonable doubt. So you want to investigate and find every piece of evidence you can, especially in a case like this where they may very well, they've said it, we'll see if they do it, seek the death penalty. Those types of cases, obviously, automatic appeals, everything is gone over and over again. So what you want is overwhelming evidence in the case. So that's one place where the investigation will continue. It will also continue to take a look at if anyone else knew what was going to happen or anyone else conspired with the suspect in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Now, at this point, they don't believe that's the case, but the investigation needs to continue down that road as well. Now, while uncovering all of this information, the obvious question so many people have is why? Why did he do this? And that's something that seemingly is becoming more and more apparent the more we find out about the accused assassin. And we'll talk about it during the course of this hour. But a lot of people are talking about his political views. And I say a lot of people, people who were close to him. And a lot of the information that investigators are getting is not from him, but from people close to him, whether it's his family, friends, or people he was interacting with on Discord, which is an app, a social media app, where people get in groups and talk about things. So from a lot of that, you're kind of getting an idea about what he thought about Charlie Kirk, number one, where he was politically, where Charlie Kirk was politically, what they thought about different social issues as well. So that may be a question that could easily and perhaps very easily be answered by the time this investigation is over and it's time for a trial. Now, there are still lots of questions out there, and a lot of them involve exactly how did he pull this off? A lot of questions about the weapon itself. Like, where was the weapon? No one sees him with the weapon. Tonight, we're going to talk about that issue in this hour to try to show you some of the evidence and what is being said about the alleged murder weapon in this case. And the reason I'm doing that is because as we sit here tonight, it's happening all over the internet, conspiracies, people not wanting to accept what the government is telling them. People not wanting to accept what the FBI is saying or accept what they see in a video, or they are seeing things in the video that no one else is talking about, whether it's hand gestures or someone looking this way or someone looking that way or a noise that they hear on a video. There are tons of conspiracies. And the question becomes, will the defense at any point in this case adopt any of those conspiracies? They were coming off the Karen Reed case, and some people called the defense in that case a conspiracy theory. But it was an actual defense that was brought in a courtroom. It wasn't just chatter online. Now the question is, will any of these things people are talking about here make their way into the trial of the accused assassin? Okay, yes. Let's take a look at Kash Patel. He's the director of the FBI. He was on Fox and Friends this morning on the Fox News Channel. And here's what he said about some important evidence that they have uncovered.
There was evidence, DNA evidence that could be collected and had been collected, including a screwdriver that was found on the rooftop. Also, we went over to the scene in the wooded area where the firearm was discarded, and the firearm had a towel wrapped around it. It's important. I'll get back to that later. And I can report today that the DNA hits from the towel that was wrapped around the firearm and the DNA on the screwdriver are positively processed for the suspect in custody.
Physical evidence here. Things that you can touch and feel and see. A screwdriver left on the roof with his DNA on it. A towel that was wrapped around the weapon, according to investigators, with his DNA on it. And you heard from Kash Patel there talking about where the weapon was found, over in the woods. Well, this is something that we also heard from Spencer Cox, the governor of Utah, who also talked about the weapon.
So the area north of Campus Drive Road where the suspect crossed over, you saw some of that in the video that we released last night, consists of a grassy area with trees on the edge of the UVU campus. Investigators discovered a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a dark-colored towel. The rifle was determined to be a Mauser Model 98 30-06 caliber bolt-action rifle. The rifle had a scope mounted on top of it.
Okay. We've got a description now of the alleged murder weapon in the case. They've got it in custody. A Mauser Model 98 30-06 caliber with a scope mounted on top of it. Okay, I've heard words like that before, but I am no expert. Here to add his expertise to our investigation is firearms instructor and dealer Mario Camposano. He's also a cybersecurity professional veteran, former federal law enforcement officer as well. Mario, great to have you back on the show. Thanks so much for joining us. I wanted to start here because there's a photo of a weapon that the New York Post obtained. I want to take a look at that with you. And it purports to be the rifle that was, in fact, recovered at the scene. Here it is. Tell me from your perspective what you're seeing here and what the significance is of this particular weapon.
What I see there, Vinnie, is a bolt-action scoped rifle. Barrel on those are roughly between 20 and 22 inches long. With the stock, probably overall length of that rifle would be, I would say, 30 inches, maybe. But bolt action, meaning that it has a capacity of 4+1, so you can chamber one and then have 4 inside the magazine portion, which is underneath the opening there, underneath the scope. And once you pull the trigger on that, you have to actually cycle that bolt back to load. So it's probably the most semi-automatic rifle there is out there. You just can't fire a shot within a half second unless you really have a fast arm to pull that bolt back and load.
All right, how about accuracy? How difficult is it to use something like this? How much training do you need? How much experience to be as accurate as the assassin was here from 400 feet away or so?
Keep in mind, this is a 30-06, so the bullet diameter is 0.30 of an inch, right, or 7.6, from a metric perspective. And that casing has a lot of power to propel it roughly about 3,000 feet per second. So you count 1 second, you're at 3,000 feet. It doesn't take much with a decent scope to get dialed in after 3 or 4 shots at a 200-yard range. I've done it myself. Just hunting and target practicing and everything of that nature. But it doesn't take much if you have a steady hand and you understand the windage, the barometric pressure, and all those things that come into play. You could probably within an hour get sighted in, understand how, where that projectile is going to go.
Okay, they found a screwdriver on the roof. Do you find, what's the significance of that? Is this a a weapon that could be broken down into more than one piece and put back together? Or I have no idea what the screwdriver is for.
That's a good question, why it was up there. Maybe to mount the scope on there, but why would you want to mount a scope when you're trying to take a shot? Screwdriver could have been up there for any apparent reason. I don't see this as a rifle that you can take apart, like a 10-22 break action rifle where you can take the rifle apart, put it in the backpack. This looks like a solid rifle, but, and I don't know if he would have had the time to do that. Right? I mean, he takes a shot. It looks like he runs on the roof. So, that screwdriver could have been there the day before. He may have gone up there the day before to put everything up there and have it ready for him. So hard to know why you'd have the screwdriver there. Just a scope as well.
Right. So what you're telling me is it's not obvious that those of us who don't fire these weapons, don't own these weapons, have very little idea. Like, okay, screwdriver, what are you doing? Or you break it in half. You don't think that's necessarily the case. I want to take a look at that rooftop video and what we see. We can take the words down, please, so we can see it. As we look at the arrow here, would that be consistent from your perspective of the actual, that could be the weapon that you described?
Could be. I mean, it's blurred to some degree, but I'm looking at the length of it from what I can see in the blurring. And I mean, it could be potentially. Yeah, I mean, it looks better when he's on the ground. It could be that.
Because you said about 30 to 32 inches. I mean, it's less than 3 feet, right? So to negotiate and carry that, right there, I thought was a good spot where you sort of see it with the gray background as we watch here.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, the rifle's not a heavy rifle. It's a polymer. The stock is made out of polymer. The rifle is about 6.5, 6.7 pounds in total weight. So it's not a heavy rifle. It's not like an AR-15, which could be anywhere from 9 to 10 pounds.
Okay, that's good to know. Now, that's the escape, Mario. Let's talk about the arrival. We've seen this image of the suspect. Again, if we could drop the word so we could see him. Looking at that, where could the rifle be? Like, because that's something. Could you stick it down your pant leg? And walk upstairs? Could you put it in the backpack?
If I look at that right leg, look at the bottom of the right leg, it looks like there's something straight there. But again, unless I can blow that picture up and get a really good look, my thought process is that he probably went there the night before or even 2 nights before and got up on the roof when there was no commotion, nobody around. That's what I would think, is he prepped the area before it actually happened.
So you think it would be a challenge?
Because that backpack,
it's not in the backpack.
Yeah, that backpack is not. No, it's not in the backpack. It's not big enough to hold a rifle, and it would take him a few minutes to put that together. And by that time, someone would really zone in on him, because there's videos of him walking across to the point where he went down to the prone position. So someone would have said, "Hey, what's that guy doing up there?" And eventually, probably, hopefully, reported it to the authorities there, right? But obviously, prone position, shot, then he runs.
Yeah. There is this strange video that we saw where he's walking with this bizarre limp on his, this is a before picture, wearing what he's wearing there, which made a lot of us think that maybe he put this thing down his pant leg. What are your thoughts about
maybe
that?
Goes
because when he's leaving, he's not limping anymore. So he had some sort of a limp beforehand.
So he probably could have had it down in his pants there. And that's maybe what's making that long, straight little rise in the bottom of his pant leg there.
Yeah.
So
I
maybe
see
that was, maybe he did tuck it down. I mean, there's folks that, I've seen soldiers that'll put shotguns down their pants, and basically pull out to shoot the shotgun. So,
wow.
I mean, right at the bottom right there, it looks like there's a straightening or something like that. So maybe he was limping because he had the rifle in there.
Gotcha. Mario Campesano, always great to see you. Appreciate your expertise.
You too, Vinnie.
We shall speak again. All right, let's bring in our think tank. Joining us tonight, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Al Wunsch III. Criminal defense attorney Darnell Crossland and family law attorney Jennifer Brandt. All right. Al, how important is this evidence? They've retrieved the weapon. They have DNA on the towel that was found with the weapon. They have DNA on a screwdriver on the roof. Is that going to be enough to tie this defendant to this weapon?
Well, they also have some other things. They also have a alleged confession. They also have testimony.
I'm talking about the weapon here. I'm not talking about the whole case, Al. Listen to the question. Can we tie him to the weapon?
Absolutely, you can tie him to the weapon, but I have a problem with the fact that that was down his pants leg. Because if you've got a scope on that rifle, and I've worked with rifles with scopes are very, very sensitive things. To have it in their pants leg like that, then you're going to have to calibrate your scope.
With a screwdriver?
It takes more time. I cannot believe he had that down his pants leg. Would make no sense to me.
How did it get up there?
I think it was placed there the night before. I think that the screwdriver was probably in case he needed to get through a door or get through a window or something along those lines in order to get up there. And he brought that with him and just left it there by mistake. But I don't think that the rifle was taken with him at the time. It would have made more sense to leave it up there. And, no one's going to look at the roof, and he's got it under a towel anyway or under a blanket anyway. And the screwdriver was probably a burglar tool for him to be able to get in and get up there if he was unable to get through. So I think that was the reason why that screwdriver was there. Because there's no way you're going to put a rifle with a scope down a pants leg. And, I mean, those pants look like kind of tight to begin with. And I don't think he's got that kind of flare leg room that he would be able to put that in there. And that would knock the scope off.
Is this a skinny jeans defense? This is the skinny jeans defense. That's what I'm hearing.
And I use that one all the time.
Darnell.
I use that one all the time.
Darnell, how does the weapon get there? To me, that's an important question. And it's important because is he working alone, right? How does he get it? If there's no evidence that he was there, because, he lives 250 miles away. So maybe he was there the day before. Maybe, because in the morning he's wearing shorts. So I don't know when the weapon gets up there or how it gets up there. But to me, that could cause some problems with the prosecution's narrative if they don't believe that he's bringing it up there in the photo where he's got the backpack and they got video of him walking up the stairs.
Well, a couple things, Vinny. One is that I hope Al uses the skinny jeans defense and not wears any skinny jeans, because I don't want to see that. But in terms of what we have to grapple with as lawyers is the idea that if they're going to prove beyond a reasonable doubt, we're going to have to get away from everything I've heard during the segment so far, which is maybe he had this. Why was he limping? Did he have it before? Did he have it after? Karsh Patel even said that they processed the scene for DNA, but he never said there was a CODIS hit. So I'm starting to think, when I first heard this,
he said they matched it, though. He said he matched it. It was a match. That's what he said.
Yeah, not really. If you listen to him carefully, he says, and I quote, DNA was positively processed for the person in custody. Positively processed doesn't go as far as saying there was a match, in my opinion, as a defense attorney. So if they got a hit, they will say it was a hit, and you have a CODIS, which means if a person has a felony from before.
He has no record. He's got no record. They have to match it to the sample from him. They have to have his DNA to match it to the DNA on the towel and on the screwdriver. So you don't think they don't necessarily have a match based upon what he said?
That's what I'm saying. It sounds like they don't have a positive match. Yeah, so that's going to be a problem, I think. And that's why they're processing and they're going through so much of the quote-unquote investigation. It's not like the United Healthcare case where it was overwhelming.
Right. All right, Jennifer, what's going on with this weapon here? Is this his weapon? How does it get up there?
I think it is his weapon. And I think they did say that there was a match. That's how I understood it. But Darnell seems to believe otherwise. But he had the weapon. How it got up there, well, I don't know. Is that so relevant? The relevant fact is that if his DNA is on that weapon, and then you have his relatives bringing him in saying that he's the guy that did it, a towel with his DNA on it, a screwdriver with his DNA on it, pictures of him that match it, what he looks like now. And then I think he made some comments on Discord about, that he did it, or he.
Well, yeah, we're going to get to all the other evidence in the case, but I always begin with like the big stuff, because what's happening in the world right now in social media is there is skepticism through the roof. People question the weapon, and they haven't seen him with a weapon in his hands, some of the people that are looking at it, and then all of a sudden they go in a completely different direction, that there's something else at play here. He's the patsy. Watch out. He's going to get, someone's going to take him out while he's in custody, and we'll never get to the bottom of this assassination. That's why I'm so concerned about the evidence, tying it and making it all fit together. Okay, think tank, staying with us for the hour. Up next, we're going to talk about the new video that we just got our hands on from before the shooting. Plus, coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinnie investigates a respected federal agent, a beautiful au pair, and a wife who never saw it coming. What began as a secret affair exploded into a twisted murder plot. Was it seduction, manipulation, or something far more sinister? Tonight, we investigate.
Join Court TV's Vinnie with the latest and breaking true crime stories.
Now, let's look at the other side of all of that.
Vinnie investigates tonight, 9/8 Central, only on Court TV.
A young mother found brutally murdered.
Now, the victim's boyfriend, a married father of 4,
is charged for the murder of his alleged mistress and her unborn child.
The pregnant mistress murder trial. Live coverage weekday mornings, only on Court TV.
Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m. on September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes.
Okay, we've got some new video to show you that was being described there by the Utah governor. Let's begin by taking a look at the video of the Dodge Challenger. There it is. It's going from screen left to screen right, okay? It's important, the direction here. This is from a Ring camera in the neighborhood. And this is at approximately 8:23 in the morning. Remember, he's hours away, so he had to leave in the middle of the night if he left from his home on that day, like, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, to get there at that time. Now, the second video is of him. And here he's walking from right to left, and notice, completely different clothes than we've seen him otherwise. He's got this maroon t-shirt on and shorts, and he's got the backpack, but he's walking very normally, right? This is a normal stride, left, right, left, right. There's nothing unusual about the way he's walking, but it is a wardrobe difference than what we see him in later that same morning. So I'm wondering what's in the backpack. Is the backpack filled with the wardrobe change? When and where does he do that? That brings us to 11:49 a.m., which is much closer to the time. TMZ obtained video of the suspect heading towards the campus before the shooting. Again, 11:49, the suspect has changed his clothing, and look at how he's walking. That's not normal. That's not normal. He's limping. And he's favoring that right leg. That Mario was talking about, the right leg didn't look normal. Well, it doesn't look normal in the video here where he's walking. Like, the left leg is bending normally, the right leg is not bending normally. He's sort of dragging it and sort of swooshing it sideways. Like he's got some sort of an old sports injury, which he does not have. The contrast of the wardrobe, the contrast of the walk. What does it all mean? Let's bring back into Think Tank. Al Wunsch, Darnell Crossland, Jennifer Brandt. Darnell, what do you think now? Now that I've played for you some video, the brand new video of him walking in with the shorts on the campus with his backpack, 8:29 in the morning, 3 hours later, he's got a limp and he's got a wardrobe change, dark clothes.
Yeah, so when you see clothing changes and you see some shift in terms of a person's outlook. We all know that cameras are everywhere. I don't think there's nobody who debates the fact that when you leave your house, maybe even before you leave your house, because we all got cameras even in the house, that you're on camera. So if he's doing these wardrobe changes, he's doing this knowing that he's being filmed. And he knows that it tells me that he's planning something, plotting something, something's going down. But as a defense attorney, it still raises questions as whether the prosecution is going to be building a case based on circumstantial evidence and making these leaps. And all of us on this panel would have to agree that while we may think it's him, we may have heard a lot of things, we're trying to put it all together. It's not the smoking gun.
Well, we're taking this piece by piece because there are a lot of pieces to get through. But Jennifer Brand, what do you think of the limp? Just 3 hours after, less than 3 hours, I think, then he is walking in. All of a sudden, now he's limping with long pants on, with his dark jeans.
Right, especially when you look at the earlier video and he has no limp. He's walking absolutely fine. So he doesn't have any kind of leg injury or anything that would cause that limp. The only thing that could cause it was something down his pants leg. And as the expert talked about earlier, I mean, it's very possible that the rifle was in his pants leg. And the way he's walking, it appears that there's something there. And we were talking about where the rifle would be. Well, it seems like it's in his pants. The only question I have is, you see him walking with the backpack, and then you see him change his clothes and walk funny. Where was the rifle during that time? Could it have been in his car? It's just questionable, what he was doing.
Yeah, because we haven't seen all of it. Now, this still shot that we have right here of him going on the stairs, and this is at a point where he's going up the stairs to the roof, to me is the most important, but we don't have the moving pictures of that. We only have the stills. I'm looking here. I'm looking there. I'm looking for a point where the right leg is bent like the left leg, and I haven't seen it yet. Right leg looks stiff. Left leg looks bent. Al, what do you think?
The thing is this, though, Vin? First of all, I just want to say, who also doesn't have a sports injury? It's Skinny Jeans Crosland does not have a sports injury, because that's what the towel boy never gets hurt. That's why he can wear those skinny jeans. Football players, we can't wear them. But going back to the rifle thing, even when he's limping, okay, he's still bending that knee. The right knee is still being bent, which would have been very difficult if that rifle was snug up against him and put in such a way that it was, bracing him with those pants on. I don't see that he put it in there. And I also say that those pictures on the stairwell lend itself to the fact that the rifle had to have been up top. Now, why was he limping? Who knows? Maybe
he's not limping here as he runs away. He's running away with no limp.
The other video, why is he limping in the other video? Maybe he's trying to throw people off. Maybe he's trying to pretend he's someone different because he's wearing a different outfit. Okay. Oh, the guy in the shorts wasn't limping, but the guy in the long pants was. Okay. I don't know why he was doing that. However, I can tell you that when you look at those pants legs and you look at the way that right knee is going, he's got a lot of movement. There's a lot of bending in that knee for someone who's got a rifle laced against him on the right side. It just doesn't make any sense. And as I said, you can't put the scope in there. You got to recalibrate that scope and everything else with regards to same. And
do you use a screwdriver for that?
No, you would not. You would not. You would not use a screwdriver.
He's got no limp here when he's jumping. He's jumping off the roof. He's got no problem with his right leg there, Darnell.
It doesn't seem to be that way. And I hate to agree with Al, but I think I don't have to agree with him totally. So we don't have to be best friends on this. We just know that if we were on the jury, that we would be having doubt here. Because the more you people
on this issue,
maybe that.
I just want to make it clear, doubt on this issue, because there is more evidence, and there's another segment coming up, and we're going to break out some of this big evidence. When we come back, new details about the accused assassin's personal life and some of the statements that he's alleged to have made when we come back.
Why? Why would he do that? Why? What was he thinking? Because he's smart and he's cute and he's part of our neighborhood, I saw him grow up, yet I would have never have thought that.
That's a neighbor of the suspected assassin, and he lived in southern Utah, comes from a family, and people in the neighborhood know each other, and she was really surprised by all of this. Well, he lives there part-time, but it seems he has another place pretty close by and has a roommate, and we've learned more about that now. The Utah governor, Governor Cox, shared new details about the suspect with Martha Raddatz on This Week from ABC News.
He's not cooperating, but all the people around him are cooperating, and I think that's very important. There were reports yesterday that we can confirm that his roommate was indeed a boyfriend who is transitioning from male to female. That's information that the FBI had mentioned yesterday. We can confirm that as well, and that he is cooperating with authorities as well.
So this is some important news as well. Our think tank back with us. Jennifer Brandt, break it down piece by piece, but it seems he's not cooperating. He's not confessing to law enforcement. However, everyone in his world seems to be, and perhaps most importantly, his roommate or boyfriend who's transitioning from male to female is cooperating and may give a lot of insight into this suspect and perhaps get them closer to understanding the motive here.
Yeah, well, I mean, we know a little bit about the motivation. There's been some discussion about that his family had said that his, political views had changed, and he was even making some comments about Charlie Kirk and, Charlie Kirk's upcoming visit to Utah. So I'm sure that the roommate can offer some further insight, given that they lived together, they were romantically involved, and the fact that the roommate is cooperating, we can learn a little bit more about, the motive behind this and, what this individual was thinking and, why he may have wanted to do something like this.
Al, I think it's also an important part of the investigation in trying to understand if anyone else knew, if he had openly spoken about doing this, or if he had just sort of viewed or aired his views about Charlie Kirk in general, because Dan Bongino, Deputy Director of the FBI, mentioned on another show that he seems to have some level of obsession with Charlie Kirk.
Absolutely. I mean, you've got to try to put all the pieces together, and that's what's being done here. And, when you're dealing with an investigation such as this, there should be no loose ends, and everything needs to be explored. What I found to be somewhat interesting is that this is sort of, in a way, like Dog Day Afternoon, that famous movie, which was based on a true story, where the individual was robbing this bank because he was trying to help his partner, who was also transitioning, and would not have been a person that would ordinarily have broken the law under most instances, but was driven to it because of the need to get the money to get the transition going. So it's got that kind of a flavor to it, and it's also got that kind of a situation where it provokes interest immediately in the media and interest immediately in the public that is watching this. It makes it a fascinating story, which has a lot of twists and turns that would ordinarily not have been the case in most instances. So what is happening here, it's perfect investigation. And the other people are putting in all the pieces, and that's ultimately what everyone wants, is an explanation as to why.
Now, we're going to get to some reporting now. We start with the New York Times. The FBI had just released 2 grainy surveillance images of a skinny young man in a cap and sunglasses walking in a stairwell on the Utah Valley University campus, and it asked for the public's help in identifying the suspect. At the moment that happens, tagging Mr. Robinson's, who's the suspected assassin's username on Discord, a messaging platform, the acquaintance attached the images and wrote, WYA, where you at? with a skull emoji suggesting that Mr. Robinson, the suspected assassin, 22, looked like the man being sought. So someone who knew him said, hey, this looks like you. Mr. Robinson replied within a minute. His, quote, doppelganger, he wrote, was trying to get me in trouble. So there's some acknowledgement by the folks who are discussing things on Discord with the suspect that, hey, this looks like you. Then from the Washington Post, this is very significant as well. The 22-year-old suspect in Charlie Kirk's killing appears to have confessed to friends in an online chat shortly before turning himself in to law enforcement. According to two people familiar with the chat and screenshots obtained by the Washington Post. Hey guys, I have bad news for you all, said a message from an account belonging to the suspect Tyler Robinson on the online platform Discord. It was me at UVU yesterday. I'm sorry for all of this. The message was sent Thursday night, 2 hours before officials say Robinson was taken into custody. Darnell Crossland, is this a confession? Can it be used in court?
It can definitely be used in court, but it's going to have to be used with some fluffing. It's going to have to be used from a standpoint of the prosecutor saying to the jury, you can infer that when he said it was me at the school, that he's saying that he did the shooting. And that's definitely not as strong as if it was a confession of saying, I did this because health care is too expensive. I did this because they denied every policy. I did this because Charlie Kirk is a racist, or whatever he might want to say. It's definitely going to be a stretch. An example about, he did this because someone was transitioning, and, the movie reference. I mean, that's a high price to pay for transitioning, and that's probably why they say women are very expensive. But I definitely, it takes us in this long, drawn out, circuitous route to get someplace. And so I think that's still not going to be closing the doubt gap.
Jennifer Brandt, is it a stronger confession or alleged confession than I hit him, I hit him, I hit him?
Yes, I think it is. I mean, if you put everything together, Vinnie, I know we're taking one piece at a time, but when you put it all together, the rifle, the walking, the change of clothes, the climbing off the building, the relatives, bringing him in, the messaging on Discord, his roommate. I mean, putting it all together, it looks like the prosecution is tightening the gap and making a strong case against him. So
we are out of time. Jennifer Brandt, Darnell Crossland, Al Wunsch III. Al, it was a confession. It is what it is. You talked about it earlier.
I don't doubt that.
Okay. When we come back, I will reveal something else you need to know. Plus, coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, she was the trusted au pair until blood stained the walls of her lover's home. Now, after pleading guilty, she's set to reveal the dark secrets behind the deadly affair that ended in murder in the trial of her former lover. Will the jury believe her? Tonight, we investigate.
Join Court TV's Vinnie Politan with the latest and breaking true crime stories.
Now, let's look at the other side of all of that.
Vinnie Politan Investigates. Tonight, 9/8 Central, only on Court TV.
Join me for a Court TV true crime series.
I've never seen anything like this.
This was a whole different level.
Victim to Verdict with Ted Rowlands. Season premieres September 27th.
Only on Court TV.
Welcome back. Time to reveal something else you need to know. What's on the board tonight? Trial day one. Brand new trial here on Court TV. You need to watch this one. Jose Soto-Escalera facing the death penalty for the murder of his mistress and his unborn child. Let's take a look at what happened in day one.
To find a spot where I'm going to dump her. I'll throw away all the clothes or I'll burn them. or I'll wash them with Clorox. Those are the words from the defendant in this case on August 21st, 2018. He cannot let his wife know that he got another woman pregnant who's now 38 weeks. He's running out of time. She's getting ready to schedule a C-section. She's going to have this baby, and he cannot let that find out because he's going to lose everything. That's all he cares about. He cut her throat and bashed her head in, knowing that possibly it was his child, but he did it anyways. Because he had planned it out, and he said, I have to do it, Eric. I have no other choice.
Unfortunately, the profession that Miss Wise was in, a dancer and an escort, brought her into contact with many unsavory characters. And what you will learn in the days following the discovery of her body. Law enforcement got DNA samples from many men, not just my client. I'd ask that you use a discerning ear and eye during the course of this trial and listen to not only the evidence that you see and hear, but the evidence that you won't see and that you won't hear. And I have no doubt that at the close of the evidence, you'll have no other alternative but to find my client not guilty of both charges. Ma'am, prior to your daughter's murder, you were aware that she was dating Bradley Rodriguez Jr., correct?
Yeah, they kind of had some type of relationship.
Were you aware that Mr. Bradley Rodriguez Jr. had been threatening Tanya?
At one point, she had mentioned it to me.
Let me take you back to the summer of 2018. Did you have a conversation with this defendant, Jose Soto-Escalera, about a gun, a firearm?
Yes.
What did he specifically say to you? Did he say that he wanted a ghost gun?
Correct.
Is that how he phrased it?
That's how he phrased it.
And what was your response to that?
My response to what he said was, I don't have anything to do with that. Like, all of my firearms are legal.
As a detective, you want to talk to people that may have information about the case.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Did the name Jose Soto-Escalera come up?
Yes, sir.
All right. And when that came up, did you request to conduct an interview with him at the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office?
Yes, we did.
Did you ever keep in touch with Tanya?
No, sir.
No?
The only time we talked was when our son came over our house.
Did you have any other involvement with Tanya?
No, sir.
So there would be no reason to find your DNA on her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever have sex with her?
No.
Day one in the books, and the looming question is, will he take the stand in his own defense in this, a death penalty case where everything is on the line? Court TV's coverage continues tomorrow, right here on your front row seat to justice. Right now, please take a look at your television screens. We have a missing child who needs your help. This is Honesty Williams. Honesty, just 17 years old, missing out of Havre de Grace, Maryland, since September the 2nd. Take a look at the photo. If you see Honesty, pick up the phone, make a call, make a difference. 911, 1-800-THE-LOST, or you can call the Havre de Grace Police Department in Maryland. That phone number is on your screen right now. Let's see if we can get Honesty to a safe place tonight. Don't go anywhere. We have another hour of live true crime. Vinnie Investigates is next. In the meantime, please don't forget to hug the kids.